How's it going, y'all? This piece is one of my more self-indulgent ones. Not saying that any of the ones before this and recently weren't, but this one's more so than others. This is for the inFamous fans, and mainly me. If you remember the series or have been privy to it back in the PS3 days, early on in the console life cycle, you know just how hard these games rock. I remember hearing something about how like they wanted a static shot game, but I guess the rights were tied up in some mess, but so they decided to get creative and do their own original thing. And this Sucker Punch, I thank you for it. Now give me a remaster or something, please. I'm tired of booting up my PS3 just to play inFamous 2 again. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing it, but it shows its age when you boot it up. But this is one of the best looking games that came out from that era. It even beats some of the ones that are coming out today, some over 10 years later. Like, I do plan on doing Delson after this. I might have already finished him, who knows, but this series has a special place in my heart. Aside from God of War, inFamous was my PlayStation series. That and like Uncharted and everything, but this one right here, this was the one that like made me feel something in terms of like the consequences of my actions whenever I'm doing something. And if you had to guess which route I went. Like the karmic system in these games, they weren't like overly deep, but you would set down a path of either good or bad, or rather yet heroic or infamous. Hence the title of the series. I think they wanted you, at least the player, to be infamous because they chose the ending based off what the player shows, and like that's something I found out years later. So essentially, like a good chunk of people chose the heroic ending, at least the inFamous 1 and 2. I don't know about Second Son, but if you know me, you know I chose the inFamous ending my first go around, just to see all the, I don't know, I'm not even gonna justify it. I was young, ignorant, and I wanted to see all the bad stuff I can do. And I still do that if I given the option. Like, let me be a jerk in games. Like, it's not like I'm gonna throw down lightning from the sky in person. It's just not happening, but seeing it done here and like the choices, the story, all that came through it based off the choices you made in game. Perfect. They really were the perfect games for the era. But like, I don't even know what they would do if they did bring them back, but I would just like, don't be afraid to go for that infamous ending, make that canon, and just either continue with Delson or give us a new protagonist going up against them or whoever. It's been like over 10 years since the last infamous game, and even though they're working on like plenty of other series, Ghost of Yote, which I'm sure will be up there, I'm not knocking that at all, but I need my infamous. And if you do go off based off the good ending from Second Son, I guess it's like a nice little closure, but not everything needs a good ending. Even though that's a thing with the infamous series, like you have your choices in the ending, I still just need to see it through. Just give me one more. spin-off comic show, whatever, something. I've been itching for years. But that's just me though. And like the 12 other inFamous fans who haven't forgotten about the series yet. Thinking back on it, the first one, it was okay. It was like just okay. Like they were dipping their toe in it and see what they could do. Because I think they're also the same studio that made the Sly Cooper games. And it was like something drastically different from what they usually make. As is with every game the studio produces now. But yeah, inFamous 1. Just okay. If I had to rate it now, a solid 7 out of 10, 7.8. Like, it's definitely showing its age. If I went out to play it, it would just be for nostalgic purposes. But when they got to that sequel, inFamous 2, perfect, and I mean perfect. 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. Like, top 5 PS3 games of all time. Argue with your mama. Like, they innovated so hard, did so much. You can get so much play out of that game, and you could beat it in like a day or two. At least for me, having known every which way to go, get your experiences that quick, and like you can get your karma based off of what route you took from the previous game. So that's a nice little boost. And then the DLC where Cole is basically a vampire based off getting bit from Bloody Mary. Like, you don't get nothing like that. That's just straight up video game shit. Like, it doesn't have to make sense. It just is what it is. Like, if I were to go in blind, these games came out today, I'm definitely picking the inFamous ending again. Well, not the ending, but the playthrough. And if I see it like going a certain way, seeing just how evil this man Cole is gonna be, like, of all the things that happened to him throughout his story, you can see how he would become infamous, as is his name, but rather yet, it just doesn't fit him to be that way. Like, you would have to really go out your way to headcanon him to be evil, but yeah, there's no arguing that. At least on my end, like, I ain't got a solid argument for that. For Delson, especially not. But I'll get to that when I do his video. This is just one of the games that made me, as you can see, inspired me and my characters. But that's all for now. See you in the next one. Stay rotten. Peace.